sweater. Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Conversations of a Sister here on my YouTube channel. I thank you for tuning in with me tonight for tonight's conversation. And tonight's conversation is the hypocrisy in politics. And the reason why I want to talk about the hypocrisy in politics is because I just think that it's unbelievable. Some of the things that I'm hearing and a lot of the things that are happening, I just think that it's a lot of hypocrisy. So the buzz this week, well, uh, the buzz since the weekend was the fact that uh, President Biden pardoned his son Hunter Biden. He gave his son a pardon. So the reason why people are flipping out is because he said he would respect the law, he would respect the sentence, and he would not pardon his son. Well, he pardoned his son. So everybody's talking about him. Even the people in his own party, they're talking about him. They're saying that uh, he actually is not following the law. He basically did the opposite. And in talking to a friend of mine this week, she was saying the same thing. She said to me, she said, had he just kept his mouth shut and not said anything, it just wouldn't look so bad. But the fact that he was adamant about the fact that he wasn't going to pardon his son, and then to turn around and do the opposite, it looks hypocritical. And I mean, you have some Democrats that are coming to his defense, such as Jasmine Crockett. She was on a show the other day. I can't remember. It might have been one of the MSNBC shows. And she talked about how we have a convicted felon rolling into the White House. Everybody that's rolling in with him are basically rapists, pedophiles, crooks. So what? Biden pardon his son. He felt like, what the hey? Let me pardon my son. I think that it was a bit hypocritical. And I get it. I get why he pardoned his son because I guess, President Biden didn't know that Donald Trump would win a second term to the White House. So I guess this is why he said at the time, no, I will respect the law. I will not pardon my son. I think that's why he said it at the time. I don't think that he anticipated the fact that Donald Trump would win a second term, to the White House. So, because of that, and he knows that Donald Trump is on this revenge mission, he said, we thought, what the hey? I better pardon my son. I need to pardon my son to protect him. I mean, come on. For those of you who are parents, if you were in that position, wouldn't you pardon your child? I mean, come on. I mean, let's be real. Wouldn't you protect your child? Especially if you know that political adversaries, it's a possibility that they would go after him. Because no matter what, Donald Trump believes that all of the charges brought up against him are false or fraudulent, and especially the January 6th charge. And that's the part that really sticks a needle in my crow. Because how could he say the January 6th charge is fraudulent and should have never been brought up when we all saw with our own eyes what happened on January 6th? We all heard him commission people, his followers, to crowd to march to the Capitol and to stop the steal. It was live on television. It aired on television. Everyone watched in shock the Capitol being taken over by people based upon Trump inciting them to the Capitol. So for him to say that that was politically motivated, that's crazy. Really? We all saw it. We all saw it. We all saw the insurrection. So how he could say that that was politically motivated, I don't understand that. But he's been saying that. His followers say it, and they actually believe it. So because in Donald Trump's mind, all of these charges are fabricated, this is why he's now going after his political enemies because he won a second term in the White House. So President Biden thought, let me protect my son. Uh, is it hypocritical? Yeah, I think it's hypocritical. And the reason why I think it's hypocritical is because he was adamant in saying that he was not going to pardon his son and that he was going to obey the law. So Biden is in a position, President Biden is in a position that he can basically do whatever he wants. He's president of the United States. So he has the power of pardons. And in my opinion, he hasn't pardoned enough. He pardoned his son, okay? I think that when asked that question, it might have been better for him to say, when the question was asked, President Biden, will you pardon your son? I think that he should have said, I don't know, because I I don't know what the future holds. I think that it would have been more acceptable had he said that. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. Therefore, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. That would have been a little bit easier to take and to deal with than him being adamant about not pardoning his son and then giving his son a pardon. So now this is why everybody's up in arms, everybody's talking about him. Oh, they're calling him a hypocrite. They're saying that he's not living by his own words, that no one is above the law. Well, if no one is above the law, he just acted above the law. And you know, I get it. I do. I get it. I agree and I get it. But let's just think about this. Donald Trump pardoned donors, his cronies, extended family members, and war criminals. So, for real, the Republican Party, they're appalled because Biden pardoned his son. Biden is protecting his son. This is why tonight's show is the hypocrisy in politics. Because the hypocrisy in politics are unbelievable. It's as if people at the top are literally getting away with ordinary people like us would never get away with. So you have a convicted felon that was elected president of the United States. Whereas if it was the average Joe, a convicted felon would not have even been on the ballot. A convicted felon would not have even been considered by the Republican Party. But here we are, and it's Donald Trump. Had it been an ordinary Joe, I think that Donald Trump would have been in jail by now because he should be in jail. We all heard what he said to try and overturn the count in Georgia. All I need is 11,000 votes. That's all I need, he said. This is what he said to Raspenberger or Rasperberger, whatever that gentleman's name is. He said, all I need is 11,000 votes. He was heard on tape saying that to him in a tape phone call. He harassed that man because he did not want him to certify the election to Joe Biden. And that gentleman is a Republican. And he said, I work for the people of Georgia, regardless of what their party is. But this is what Trump told him. We all heard it. We all heard the proof. We saw the proof. But yet, he's going back to the White House. If that's not hypocrisy to the highest, I don't know what is. And what's really funny is, to me, is like nobody stood their ground. Nobody stood on what they said. I saw Charlemagne the God on The View today, and he said that Donald Trump won the election and President Biden welcomed him to the White House as if nothing because he agreed to a peaceful transfer of power. So how do you do that? How do you welcome somebody to the White House that you know is a convicted felon but was voted in by the people? So let's see. What does a peaceful transfer of power look like? Because see, none of us are in that position, to speak. I don't even know, like if Barack Obama was president, as a black man, how would he have handled that? Because it's almost as if, Donald Trump was reelected and everything about him went out the window because he was chosen by the people. He was elected by the people. So I was like, really? So let's see. If I was President Biden and I had to welcome Donald Trump to the White House for the peaceful transition of power, I think I would have said to him, this is a normal process and a procedure. But please know that I am really shocked that the American people voted you in for a second term, knowing that you are an insurrectionist and a convicted felon. I am shocked. I think that's what I would have said to him. I would have said, because just because you won, it does not change those facts. And then I guess an argument would have broke out on camera in front of everybody. But I'd rather keep it real and to keep it honest for the American people than to just act as if nothing. To just act normal, like he did, as if nothing. He just opened up the White House doors to an insurrectionist. It's shocking. I know it's shocking to me. It's like, wow. So what is that? Racism at the highest? What is that? White supremacy to the highest? Come on, listeners, followers. You know doggone well, had it been a black man like Barack Obama, it wouldn't have happened. I don't even think he would have been on the ticket. They would have taken him off. We all know that. It's two sets of rules. It's two sets of laws. It's we the people and I am the person. So because we have we the people versus I am the person is actually above the law. That's how I see it. I mean, that's how we all see it. But I don't know. I've talked to individuals on both sides of the aisle and people who voted, Democrat, said that Biden should have did it. I spoke to a couple of people this week. They said they're glad that he did it. They said that he should pardon more. They were like, good for him. I'm so glad he did. If Trump can walk his clown circus into the White House with a bunch of rapists, crooks, thieves, then why not? Why not pardon his son? What is so wrong with Biden pardoning his son? They're like, good for Biden. I'm glad that he did it. I'm glad that he did it. And I'm like, okay. Me, I think that Biden should have been careful with being adamant about saying that he won't, because he turned around and walked back on those words. And at the end of the day, that's not a good look. Because in leadership position, don't get me wrong, I know the man is not perfect. None of us are perfect. But in a leadership position, we have to be careful as to what we say, because we never know when we have to walk back on what we said. Okay, for example, I'm going to go way back. Remember when President Clinton had the affair with Monica Lewinsky, and he got on national television and said, I did not have an affair with that woman. That is what he said. And then it came out that he had an affair with that same woman. So not only did he look like a liar and a cheater, but it was hypocritical. It was hypocritical on so many levels. So I think that this is why the American people don't trust politicians, because they feel as though politicians lie. Politicians are liars. So this is why they don't trust them. People are like, oh, I knew it. I knew he was going to pardon his son. I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was going to do it. And then, you know, those who are liberal or for Biden, they're like, okay, so what? He pardoned his son. Look at what Trump is doing. So it's like a tit for a tat, a this for that. I get it. So one is no better than the other. They're not. Because, at the end of the day, Biden is doing what he has to do. And come on, make no mistake about it. If Donald Trump was in that position, he'd pardon his son. I understand he's already grooming one of his sons to take over the reins when he's, I don't know, guess gone and long forgotten about. He's also grooming his daughter in law for the Senate. So they're already thinking long term as to how to get over on the American people. They're already 5 steps ahead. So where are you? Where are we on the political puzzle map? Where are we? What has this year and what has this election taught us? This election taught me that anything is possible. This election taught me that American people are ignorant. This election taught me, I'm so sorry to say it, but American people are stupid. This election taught me that the American people, half of them are in a cult. This election taught me that there is no bar to reach. There is no standards here. There is no integrity for the office. So what do you tell little Mary and little Johnny or little Shaquisha? Anything is possible if you believe. Yeah, it's okay to rob a bank, because maybe a couple of years later you'll be president of that same bank. What do you tell them? What do you tell them? Because the standards are no longer raised. We lowered the bar, as one of my followers said. We've lowered the bar to the ground. There is no level to the bar anymore, because the level is just to the ground. There is no standards to reach. There is no longer a high point in the office of presidency. And get ready, because the next 4 years is going to be bickering, fighting, because his administration, they're all going to fight amongst themselves. It's going to be a blow up with him and half of his administration, and he's probably going to fire them just like he did in the last. It is going to be a lot of misinformation, and God forbid there is another pandemic. But hey, this is what the majority voted for, right? This is what the majority voted for. They voted for this. This is what the American people wanted. They wanted the hypocrisy. And I get it. People said they were tired of high groceries. I get it. People said they were tired of high gas prices. I get it. People said they were tired of inflation. I get it. And they felt like anything was better than the current administration. Although inflation is down, I mean, for the state of New Jersey, our gas taxes are going to be raised. They're raising the taxes on gas in the state of New Jersey. And I still blame that on the former governor, Chris Christie, because I feel as though this gas tax thing is the gift that keeps on giving. So, I mean, come on, we all have our viewpoints and our positions. But really, you really think, some people really think that Donald Trump is going to be better when he's talking about tariffs? Do you know how much money in taxes the little people are going to pay on that? Do you realize that half of the man's administration is full of billionaires? He's full of billionaires. But you have these people, these commoners, who voted for him because they think that he's going to help them. We are in for a rude awakening. I'm not surprised. But for those of you who voted for him, you'll be surprised. He didn't keep any of his campaign promises the last time. He won't keep any this time. He was the worst president ever. He'll finish the job with this term. Trust and believe it. Trust and believe. So the hypocrisy is going to continue. And Joe Biden said, let me just jump on the train. Because at the end of the day, I am not going to have him come after my son. So he pardoned him. Do I blame him? No. Should he not have been adamant about saying that he wouldn't? Yes. But we all live and we all learn. And I guess Joe's back was against the wall. And he did it. And I saw the corny joke that's circulating on social media. Um, he bumped into his father during Thanksgiving, and he said to his father, "Pardon me." And Joe thought that it meant to actually pardon him, but not pardon me because I bumped into you. I mean, the jokes are corny. Biden is a senior citizen. My mom is a senior citizen. My parents were senior citizens. I don't, I don't, I don't take too kindly with jokes on seniors. I just don't. God bless Joe Biden to live to see the age that he's lived and running the United States of America and has done well thus far, whether you want to believe it or not. At his age, he has done well. So God bless him. And I think that our elders need to be respected and revered. But people talk about him as if they hate him. And it's really not that serious. I felt so bad one time when he went somewhere to some community center and people was yelling, F you, Joe, piece of shit. Like I couldn't believe it. Because at the end of the day, it's like, who raised you? Have you no respect? I couldn't believe that they were yelling those obscenities to this man who's not only president of the United States, but he's somebody's grandfather. Respect is always due. I thank you for tuning in. Please note, if you got nothing else on this show, that hypocrisy in politics are alive and well. But just because the hypocrisy in politics is alive and well, we should not be hypocrites in our daily lives. We should be men and women of our word. If you take nothing else with you, please take that. Until next week, have a great night. Bye.